Nazis next door. Conflict and compromise with the German-American Settlement League. After the defeat in World War I, Weimar Germany went into severe depression, many without jobs. The inflation rates ran so high, children played with money in the streets. Capitalizing on this power vacuum, the Nazi Party rose to prominence in Germany, captivating a majority of the public. They held great rallies, with propaganda and images of demagoguery in a strong-armed totalitarian dictatorship. However, during this depression and rise of the Nazi Party in Germany, the United States was experiencing an age of new growth. From New York City to San Francisco, American innovation was at an all-time high, exemplified in the building of the Golden Gate Bridge with ease. Americans were on to new horizons in every field and enjoying their successes. However, the situation in Nazi Germany was boiling, and Nazi ideology was spreading. Not only was it spreading across Europe, but also to the United States. In 1935, the official German-American Bund, or First American Nazi Party, was formed.
German-American Bund grew out of a group called Teutonia. They were a group that was formed in the wake of World War I. They ultimately morphed into a group called the Friends of New Germany. The Friends of New Germany was looked down on by Nazi Germany. They didn't want anything to do with them and were eventually disbanded. Now, Fritz Kuhn was a member of the Friends of New Germany.
Fritz Kuhn was a German immigrant who reorganized Nazi efforts in the United States. He admired and modeled much of his rhetoric on Hitler and the Führer's anti-Semitic message.
You all have heard of me, through the Jewish-controlled press, as a creature with horns, a cloven hoof, and a long tail.
Kuhn directed the Bund as the so-called Bundesführer, increasing the extent of its influence throughout the nation.
The thing about Fritz Kuhn was that he had a certain genius for organization. If he had been a businessman in 1936, he would have been a genius.
Kuhn also attracted many by associating Nazi ideology with American exceptionalism. The Bund equated Hitler with figures like George Washington and equated fascist ideals with those of democracy.
We, with American ideals, demand that our government shall be returned to the American people who founded it.
Kuhn had fully integrated Nazism within American ideals. Now, many Americans would follow both the Stars and Stripes and the swastika. In the late 1930s, Fritz Kuhn needed to develop an outlet of hate for his 25,000 loyal followers. Furthering his integration of American ideals, he created Nazi indoctrination summer camps throughout the United States under the authority of the Bund.
Across the United States, Führer Kuhn has established 25 summer camps and drill grounds, where those German Americans who believe in Nazi teachings can imitate Hitler's mighty military machine.
One of these such camps would be located in Yaphank, New York, on Long Island.
In this New York county, steeped in the traditions of Americanism, the citizenry has been roused by the presence of Camp Siegfried, operated by the German-American Settlement League.
The German-American Settlement League was a housing corporation that worked with the Bund to establish this camp, and Long Island was a perfect place.
All over the island there were these racist ideas that were going around. There were supporters of Mussolini and Lindenhurst and Copenhagen, and there in Patchogue, there were the Klan supporters.
Camp Siegfried was a great place for like-minded Bundists to get together and let their Nazi ideology take over conversation, but there were underlying messages.
They had to understand that they were going to be propagandized for a day, but they provided the lake where you could swim, they provided food, lots of the national brew, Brown, you know, they entertained them as well as they could. This was really one of their objectives. Children. They wanted to propagandize children.
At Camp Siegfried, children were put into a strict program consisting of teaching moral German values and indoctrination to worshiping the Nazi state. Through this indoctrination, these children were beaten, sexually assaulted, and coerced into hard labor.
They took the children and they organized little Nazi summer camps where the kids would be basically propagandized into a kind of Aryan youth.
Kuhn also further increased the grip on his followers by creating a separate community of homes that had street names of Nazi leaders and kept Bundists at the camp all year round. It was supervised by the German-American Business or Settlement League.
They built this small complex of 70 bungalows. That's what they were. And in the bungalows, on the streets, there was Hitler Street.
These unusual street names also matched some disturbing architecture.
The houses were normal suburban-sized homes, but a couple of them had the swastika built into the house out of stonework.
Despite all of the successes of the Bund in building up Camp Siegfried, they could not overcome negative public opinion. In 1938, the camp effectively shut down over a lawsuit in Suffolk County Court.
Incorporators of the camp have been convicted in Suffolk County Courthouse, and one has been jailed for violation of the state civil rights law. Testimony which the judge forwarded to U.S. authorities rouses an attack on Nazi activities in America by Assistant District Attorney Lindsay Henry, the prosecutor.
In addition, in 1939, the leader of the Bund itself, Fritz Kuhn, faced embezzlement charges from New York State. His anti-Semitic rants were legal. However, Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia found that Kuhn had pocketed illegal funds, and he was later found guilty in court. The federal government then began seizing items and property with Nazi ties, including Camp Siegfried. By this point in 1940, Leo Crowley, officer of alien property custodian, appointed by Franklin Roosevelt, had confiscated the camp from the fallen Bund. However, the German-American Settlement League that owned part of the camp would not go without a fight. Its president, Henry Wagner, said the League had grown tired of the Bund in their 2 years it had managed their camp and wished to be released from any connection with the Bund and operate Camp Siegfried as a summer resort with no political activities. But they would not uphold their promise. In 1957, the German-American Settlement League resumed authority over the camp, creating a private housing community for residents. For approximately 6 decades, the community went on unsuspecting of their connection to their Nazi past until a court case in 2014 would reveal their ties. Philip and Patricia Neer, parents of 2 and residents of the League, sued them for violations of the Fair Housing Act. Wanting to move out of the housing community after having children, the German-American Settlement League did not allow them to advertise the sale of their house to prevent non-ethnic Germans from moving in. The Fair Housing Act, signed into law by Lyndon Johnson in 1968, expressly states, "It is illegal to discriminate against any person because of race, color, religion, sex, handicap, familial status, or national origin in the sale or rental of housing or residential lots." The Neers cited the 1998 Constitution of the League that said, "Membership in the German-American Settlement League, Inc. is primarily open to all persons over 21 years of age or older, of German extraction and of good character and reputation." The complaint by the Neers also included examples of Nazi ideology still carrying on the League's activities.
The top of the flag post includes the Sigrun, the Youth Hitler symbol, which was from the Camp Siegfried and the American Bund Party. And even in their stationery by the 1980s, they were still using the Hitler Youth symbol as part of their letterhead.
This evidence of law violation and remnants of a Nazi past led to a court-issued mandate that the League would have to cease discriminating against any individuals on the basis of race or national origin and fully comply with fair housing and non-profit corporation laws. In addition, the Attorney General of New York, Eric Schneiderman, ordered that the League regularly report to the Attorney General over a period of 3 years to demonstrate compliance with the agreement. Through this resolution and the declawing of the German-American Settlement League over time, there has been conflict between the American Nazi movement and the advancement of modern society. This is an example of tough compromise that does not infringe upon the rights of the hate group, but does institute meaningful reform. It has been an evolving conflict and compromise over many decades, involving many people, and resulting in wholesale change.
Blossom of snow.